fire Anthony Fauci was because he'd been there for a long time, that you would have taken heat, that it would have created a firestorm, quoting your words. Then for the first time in May...
I also said I didn't listen to him too much.
I'm getting there. But then in May, you started saying, well, he's a civil servant, so I couldn't technically. The truth is, though, not only did you not fire Fauci, who is loathed by many, millions of Republicans in particular, but also some Democrats.
By the way...
You made him a star. You made him a star. This is the criticism of you, that you made him the face of the White House coronavirus task
You think so?
force, that he was out at every presser, that he was running herd for the administration on COVID, and that you actually gave him a presidential commendation before you left office. Wouldn't you like a do-over on that?
I don't know who gave him the commendation. I really don't know who gave him the commendation.
Presidential commendation. One went out to Mark
Somebody
Milley, too.
probably...
His patriotic brand that he displays very well.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Since the election, Donald Trump has said that actually investigating or jailing Hillary Clinton just isn't a priority. Donald Trump has actually made it clear it was all a ruse from the beginning. The crowd started chanting, "Lock her up." And Trump had a surprisingly honest response. Here is a tweet from NBC News' Alexandra Jaffe, who said, "Whoa, chant of 'lock her up' from the crowd." Trump replies, "That plays great before the election. Now we don't care."
Because I heard my opponent had scheduled Michigan unexpectedly. It was like all of a sudden with President Obama and Michelle and Bill and Hillary, and they were going to Michigan. No, it's okay. No, forget it. That plays great before the election. No, we don't care.
Well, first of all, I know her very well, and I know her husband very well, and I like them both. And they are, just really terrific people. I like them both very much, but I think you'll be looking at the record of Hillary Clinton and how did she do as Secretary of State, probably above and beyond everybody else.
Gives the character he's playing a form of authenticity and trustworthiness among the population to follow and vote for pre-selected globalists. If they can get you to think that they hate him, even though he is one of them to a degree, they know the population will automatically back him without question.
Man says, the more you go after Trump, the more we're going to support him. Here's a clip.
The more you indict, the more we vote. The more you indict, the more money we send. We're going to vote for Donald Trump.
Hey, I'm wetting my jockeys here.
And he has incredible courage, and we know he will devastate them if he gets back in.
She has no natural talent to be president.
She's very talented, and she has a husband that I also like very much.
Hillary Clinton was the worst Secretary of State in the history of the United States.
Hillary Clinton, how did she do as Secretary of State? Probably above and beyond everybody else.
Let's say Hillary is president.
Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I think she really works hard, and I think she does a good job, and I like her.
How can anyone in their right mind say that this scumbag has courage? Trump doesn't even have the cojones to admit to the American people that the medical syringes that were given to people and are still going into people that he even still supports to this day and is responsible for are deadly. How does anyone know that Trump will devastate them, the globalists, when he gets back in, if he even does? That doesn't even make any sense, and it sounds like a bunch of feel-good BS. He had 4 years to devastate them. 4 years and not a single arrest. He did do a few good things. However, that was completely trumped, pun intended, by the fact that he gave us national genocide, medical martial law, and a shut-down economy. Not to mention creating twice as much debt as Obama and Bush combined. That made people poorer by taking away what little purchasing power we have left. Of course, Trump-tards will tell you the economy was booming.
And it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has everything to do with the job that he did when he was sitting in the seat. Our economy was booming.
Inflating is more appropriate, not booming.
So do what you want to. You know, throw us all in jail, indict all of us. We're still voting for Donald Trump.
Nobody in their right mind should be supporting, voting for, following, or want someone as a leader who just committed genocide by pure stupidity or on purpose. This excuse of he didn't know is a bunch of low IQ garbage. But that's the problem with this country, isn't it? The majority of people are not in their right mind because we've been attacked. This is literally just elementary level, rational, common sense things that I'm saying and pointing out. Because Catherine Austin Fitts, who appeared a while ago on Greg Hunter's USA Watchdog show, like a breath of fresh air, respectfully told it like it is. And more of us need to step up and start shutting this BS stupidity down immediately. It's beyond disgusting and embarrassing for the country.
You are God's army. It's you that's going to have to spread the word. It's you that's going to have to share the articles. It's you that's going to have to go speak at city council. It's you that's going to have to run for office. It's you that's going to have to donate and support institutions and organizations that tell the truth. It's you. It's you. Look in the mirror.
And they're still going after Donald Trump, who wants to destroy the New World Order. I mean, I had Alex Newman on. He says, you know, I know you would disagree about the shots and all that, but boy, he was taking a sledgehammer to the New World Order. He got us out of the Paris Climate Accord. He got us out of who?
Well, but wait a minute. He put $10 billion into a military program to depopulate Americans. Come on, Greg. I'm going to be a tough guy about this.
Do you think he was told the truth, though? I mean, Birx came out on Fox and said, I always knew the mRNA injections would not offer, much protection against infection. She came out and said that, and Neil Cavuto's like, you can Google this.
So if you look at the history of what is known, it takes 10 to 12 years to test out a vaccine to make sure it's safe. Everybody knows that. Come on. So... No,
you actually think Donald Trump actually knew, hey, we're going to depopulate, murder off a bunch of people? See, I don't. I think he was lied to, and he missed this. He knows now. He knows now. That's
there was one person who understood how dangerous vaccines are that was in political life. It was Donald Trump, because this was a big issue during the campaign. And he made a big issue about, the dangers of vaccines. So he knows.
So you think he knew ahead of time? You think he knew going into it that we're going to depopulate people? See, I just don't believe that. I think he knows now. I think he definitely knows now. Which he should, which I'm pissed that he's not coming out.
So I'm just going to be a tough guy, because okay. I knew the injection program stunk. I knew it was dangerous, and I knew there were different nefarious agendas that could go on. And I said to people, as soon as the virus started, or as soon as they claimed there was a virus, because I think it was more than one thing going on, I said, worry about the injection. Don't take the injection, whatever you do. So if I knew that in March 2020, I'm sure Trump knew that. So no, $10 billion, he put in charge of Operation Warp Speed someone who's, was head of research at a pharmaceutical company, and his his expertise was on brain-machine interface. Come on, Greg.
Is there any way for Trump to redeem himself, for the people out there that still believe in him and go to his rallies? Is there any way for him to redeem himself?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hey, sorry for committing genocide and locking down the economy. All's well.
I don't know. I'm not close enough to sort of his political position right now. But if I were in Trump's shoes, I'd say I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And here's what we need to do next year. But I don't know how you come back from this.
Karen Kingston came to this conclusion a year ago, and she said all the documents say it's a weapon. It is in fact, it is indeed bio. Not what I think. It's what the documents say. She's a brilliant biotech analyst.
Here's the problem. Trump, you can say Trump, was on board for a depopulation, or Trump got rolled. Either one is not a very good case to be made that he ought to be president.
I just can't believe that he would say, sure, let's kill millions of people. I just have a hard time believing that, especially when Birx writes a book.
But go back, then you're saying he's incompetent. Because if I knew what I knew, don't tell me I knew more than Trump. I just don't buy that. But here's the thing.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying, that's depressing, because
you got to hold people accountable. You got to tell the truth, and you got to hold people accountable. That's the only way out of this. Every quarter while Trump was the president, we did a report card on Trump. And the Trump card varied from areas where he was doing a great job, like getting us out of the Climate Accord and getting us out of the WHO, to areas where he was doing a terrible job. I mean, on the financials and on the financial coup, at one point, I think Farrell gave him we went I was giving him Fs, and Farah was giving him, he went down the alphabet. I think he ended up at Z. Here's the thing. The president is not running the situation. The president is not in charge. That's what you got to understand. And, I keep talking
explain
about
that. The president's not, please. So we explain that. Well, he's the president. Why isn't he in charge? But explain why.
What happened in 1963? What happened in November 1963?
Kennedy was shot in the head.
Well, the U.S. intelligence agencies and military and establishment got together and killed the president, right?
That's right.
And who controls the Secret Service, right? It's the Secretary of the Treasury and the people who run the country. So the deep state controls the Secret Service, and their guns point out and their guns point in. So, the president, in a highly centralized system, the president has very little power. Now, I've told you the red button story many, many times, but the moral of the story of the red button story, if you go to Solari or you go on the web, you can do a search for the red button story in my name and you'll pull it right up. But essentially what it says, everybody in America wants their check. And the way they get their check is to borrow more money and print more money. And so you've had a lot of popular support for the financial coup. And the reason is everybody wants their check. Now, you put the president in charge, you hit the population with massive amounts of propaganda, disinformation, entrainment. Suddenly they're screaming they want a vaccine, right? And you're Trump, and you feel cornered and squeezed by the fact that everybody wants their check. And the only way you can get their check is to be nice to the deep state and the central bankers. And the only way you can make them happy is to give them whatever the entrainment and TV has persuaded them they want.
Do you think that he art of the deal this thing, and he had a trade-off? And the trade-off was, well, you get your check, but some of you are going to die.
You know something? I have no idea what was going on. And I don't care, because you had the president roll out something that in March 2020, I was sure was going to harm and kill millions of Americans. And he either has two reasons for doing it. He's incompetent or he is breaking the law. Which do you want? I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't say. But I know what I knew, and I know what I hold him responsible to know, and I know what he did. And I know what I would have done. I would never, I would have taken a bullet in the head before I would implement a culling of the American population.
I'm the only one on the stage that said we should not go into Iraq.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
I'm very pro-life. I'm very pro-choice.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle? There has to be some form of punishment.
I am pro-choice in every respect.
Donald, true or false, you've said the government should pay for everyone's health care?
That's false.
You've never said that.
Everybody's got to be covered.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody.
Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side.
He said I was in favor of Libya. I never discussed that subject. I was in favor of Libya. We would be so much better off if Gaddafi were in charge right now. Gaddafi in Libya is killing thousands of people. We should go in. We should stop this guy, which would be very easy and very quick. Stop him from doing it and save these lives. They're here illegally. You take them, they have to go back.
We have to show some compassion.
Right.
We just can't throw everybody out.
They have
So
to
you're going to
come
split
in
up
legally.
families.
Chuck,
You're going to deport children.
Chuck, no. We're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep
But
them
they have
together
to
out.
go. But they have to go.
How do you throw somebody out that's lived in this country for 20 years?
North Korea has nukes. Japan has a problem with that. I mean, they have a big problem with it. Maybe they would, in fact, be better off if they defend themselves from North Korea. Maybe we would be better off, including with nukes. Yes, including with nukes.
They said, I want Japan to nuke. I want Japan to get nuclear weapons. Give me a break.
But if you say to Japan, yes, it's fine, you get nuclear weapons, South Korea, you as well, and Saudi Arabia says we want them too.
Can I be honest with you? It's going to happen anyway. So it's only a question of time. I'm a conservative person. The Republicans are just too crazy right. I mean, just what's going on is just nuts. Bush says, I do not believe he's a true conservative. These people are stupid.
Do you identify more as a Democrat or a Republican?
in many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat. The economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans.
I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists.
What do you see as the biggest problem with the Reform Party right now?
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
Wages too high. We're not going to be able to compete against the world. I hate to say it, but we have to leave it the way it is. I don't know how people make it on $7.25 an hour. I would like to see an increase of some magnitude.
Do you believe voters have a right to see your tax returns before they make a final decision?
I don't think they do.
If I decide to run for office, I'll produce my tax returns, absolutely.
There have been many presidents that have not shown their tax returns.
Actually, every single nominee since 1976 has released their tax
but before
returns.
1976...
Nobody was worse to women or abused women more than Bill Clinton.
Look at the trouble Bill Clinton got into with something that was totally unimportant.
She's married to a man who got impeached.
They tried to impeach him, which was nonsense.
He was impeached for lying.
Honesty, Carter once said, "I'll never lie to you." Would you say that, the American people?
I would never lie.
When I'm president, I'm a different person. I can do anything. I can be the most politically correct person that you've ever seen. I can be the most politically correct person in the world. And I can be the opposite.
The president has to be a great leader, and you have to lead by example.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
Like to punch him in the face.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers.
Blood coming out of her, wherever.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
I don't know what I said. This guy will say anything.
As far as the truth goes, we've got people in positions of power who I know for a fact are liars. Liars. I don't believe any one of them, not one. I believe Donald.
Look, she was the worst Secretary of State in the history of the United States.
But you used to donate, I mean, you gave a lot of money to her over the years.
Because I was a businessman, I guess I still am, but I was a businessman, I was with everybody. Everybody loved me. When I called them, they always treated me well. And that's part of the game. And that's part of what's wrong with this country. Because as a businessman, I could have gotten anything from anybody. And that is part of the problem. Lobbyists, donors, special interests.
Is that why you were donating money to people you donated? Because you donated to Democrats. I think in 2006, you gave $20,000 to the Democratic Congressional Campaign Fund. You gave $1,000.
Democrats and Republicans.
You
I get
gave
along with
$1,000
everybody.
to Republicans.
Oh, whatever. But I've given millions. I've given millions to everybody.
So do you give, though, based on principles, or do you give based on who's going to do things for you politically?
They all love me. Let's put it that way. They all love me. I'm a I did very nicely in life. And frankly, you give, and it's part of the problem. And I talk about it all the time. Part of the problem.
So even though you're doing it, you're saying it's a problem?
Well, I'm saying this. They won't necessarily do what's right for the country. They'll do what's right for their special interest, their donor, their lobbyist, etc. Not good for the country.
But you know, when you're going to get on the stage during those debates, and your Republican challengers are going to say, look, you're all over the place politically. You say you're a conservative Republican, you're giving the money to Hillary Clinton, Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi.
I get along with everybody. And that's part of the problem we have in the country.
So you
also.
were giving money based on political beliefs, you were giving money based on currying favor, like many people do.
People love me. And you know what? I've been very successful. Everybody loves me.